All right, guys. Hello again. Happy Easter. I'm so excited to be back teaching you, even though we can't be together in person. Moving forward, so starting tomorrow or today, you'll be watching this video on Monday. Monday, April 13th is NTI week 4. So our NTI is going to be a little bit differently structured. I send an email to your parents tonight, Sunday night, with all of your instructions. So make sure that you look at that and make sure you know what you're doing. If you have questions, please call, email, and ask. We'll be structuring it in weeks. So NTI week 4 will be all about coordinate grids like we learned about at the beginning of NTI. And all of your assignments will be about this, and it'll all be labeled week 4. So there are 5 week 4 assignments for math. If you have questions about that, please give me a call, and I want to help you understand what's going on. But you'll have 5 days worth of assignments for NTI week 4, and all of it will have to do with what we're going to talk about today, which is coordinate planes and coordinate grids. So we are back in my kitchen, which is my virtual classroom. I've got my helpers with me, Wrigley and Ross. Ross is just having a little nap time right in front of me here for our lesson, and Wrigley's back here being sad because it's raining. But we are going to learn about coordinate planes. So first we're going to start with vocabulary you need to know. Some of these things we talked about, but we're going to refresh our memory. So the first thing is there is a difference between a coordinate plane and a coordinate grid. And part of that Miss Anderson had to relearn because I learned it last year when I taught 5th grade math, and then you know me, I make mistakes sometimes, so I want to make sure we know the difference. A coordinate plane is when you have intersecting perpendicular lines. And you have points that go this way and this way. And so they go positive and negative. We really won't be dealing with coordinate planes in 5th grade because it deals with those negative numbers, which we don't know a lot about. If you want to challenge yourself to learn how that coordinate plane works with negative numbers, I'd be happy to share some resources. But in the meantime, in 5th grade, we're just going to be worried about coordinate grids. And coordinate grid is like what we learned about a few weeks ago, where it only has the positive numbers on there. So it'll look more like this with positive numbers going both directions, okay? So I know that my chart says coordinate planes. Like I said, I made a mistake a couple weeks ago, but now we know the difference. A coordinate plane is all 4 of these, what they're called quadrants. And then a coordinate grid is what we'll be dealing with only positive numbers, okay? So then we have our x-axis and our y-axis. If we were in class, this would be when I would say, does anybody remember how we know x-axis and y-axis? But I'm just going to have to answer that question for you. So x-axis runs horizontally, okay? So horizontal like this is the x-axis. Then the y-axis runs vertically. And the way I like to remember that is if I have a y, it's got that long stick down here. So I would draw a y like this with that long vertical line. So my y-axis is vertical, my x-axis is horizontal. Next, we have a coordinate pair or an ordered pair. Those terms are interchangeable. You can use either one. And we talked about that a few weeks ago too. It's that thing in parentheses that tells us where our point is going to be. So you have parentheses and then you have x, comma, y. X comes first because it comes first in the alphabet, X, Y, Z. So you're going to do across and then up and down. Okay, so your ordered pair or your coordinate pair is x, comma, y. And then your origin, if you remember, is that point 0, comma, 0. So right at the corner of that coordinate grid. It's right in the middle of a coordinate plane. Right in the corner of a coordinate grid. And so it's that point 0, comma, 0. Okay? So those are your vocabulary that you need to know in order to be successful in using a coordinate grid. Okay? Now, the other thing you're going to want to know this week is all about using patterns. Now, You've been using patterns since you were in kindergarten. Maybe you were in Miss Nance's class and you learned about patterns, but you've been using them since you were in kindergarten. You could go red, blue, or orange, orange, green, orange, orange, green. Or maybe you did it with shapes. Whatever you did to learn about patterns, you've been doing them for a really long time. Now we're going to use them in conjunction with our use of a coordinate grid. And I'm going to show you how. Let me see what colors. All right. So we're going to start with the blue one over here. So the blue one says that you have X and your rule is to add 3. So that's your rule for your pattern. It gives us our X column and we start at 0 and we're going to add 3. So if I add 0 plus 3, I would get 3. Then next I would do 3 plus 3 and I would get 6. Then I would do 6 plus 3 and I would get 9. At this point you might go, oh, well, we're just counting by 3s. And you would be right. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay? Then for Y, my rule is add 6. So I start at 0 and I add 6. 0 plus 6 is 6. Then I add 6 more. 6 plus 6 is 12. And then just like 3s here, if you're just adding 6 every time, then you're counting by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Okay? So then you would use these as ordered pairs. So if you have X is 0 and Y is 0, then that's your coordinate pair or your ordered pair, 0, 0, which is referred to as the origin. Yes, it's very hard to teach when you don't have kids in front of you telling you the answers. Then this one, X is 3, Y is 6, 3, 6. Same thing. So you're going to use your chart that you created to create ordered pairs. And then you can graph these ordered pairs. So I'm going to use my same coordinate grid over here, and I'm just going to use bright pink. Do you think that'll show up? Because I've got all this other stuff going on, I want to make sure you can see what you're doing. So if I'm going to graph 0, 0, that's already there for me. That's that origin, right? I'm just going to graph the first 3. 3, 6, 3 is my X. X comes first. And then I'm going to go up to 6. 3, 6. Okay? Then I have 6, 12. X is 6. That comes first. And then I'm going to go up to 12. 6, 12. 9, 18. 9. Oop, I don't have enough. And so you see how this is making a diagonal line? It would keep going, okay? So, these are the activities you're going to be asked to do in your work for this week. Is to do your pattern, graph your points, use that coordinate grid effectively. I'm going to do one more example of our patterns because for some reason this is something that trips us up a lot in 5th grade, and so I want to make sure you know what I mean when I say this. So I'm going to model this one more time, okay? So we have a new one. Our rule for X is to add 5. X starts at 10. If I'm adding 5 each time, I can just count by 5s. Hopefully you would agree. So 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Looks like Y's rule is also to add 5, except for Y starts at 20. So now I have to go from 20 and add 5 each time. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. I've not left myself a lot of room for my ordered pairs, so I've got to write kind of small. But I would have my X, then my Y. 10, 20, 15, 25, 20, 30, 25, 35, 30, 40, and 35, 45. So, look at your pattern. Start with X, then go. Then look at Y, use Y, and then go down. Don't get overwhelmed by the bigness of it. Do one thing at a time. Do your X's, then do your Y's, then you have your points. Okay? As always, call me, email me, dojo me with questions. My class, we will Zoom on our normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. I'll have a Zoom for Miss Crawford's class on Tuesday afternoon and a Zoom for Miss Penson's class on Thursday afternoon so that you all can see me and ask questions. I want to see you all too. So be on the lookout for that information. I'll be sending it to your parents. Zoom is also now requiring us to use passwords for meetings to make it a little bit more secure. So that information will be out there as well. Again, happy Easter. I miss you so much. I can't wait to see you and see all your awesome work this week.